So a question I had asked to me, and I did a good amount of research on it, couldn't really find too much, was could you 3D print something like this and have it actually be a viable, strong solution for things like cutting boxes or everyday carry or things like that? And I did a good amount of research, nothing crazy, but it was pretty surprising. When you look up online, you'll find a ton of 3D printed knives and things that are from video games and uh, action figures, crap like that. But finding stuff that's actually a real model somebody wants to test and see and make improvements on and things like that, it was pretty rare to find. I found a couple options here. So different situations where you might need something like that, non-metallic knife, let's just say, would be a non-permissive environment. You have to go somewhere where they have a metal detector. Hopefully you're following all the laws and you're doing everything legally. But if you have to go through a metal detector, sometimes it's just a hassle if you have a knife on you or something like that. Different scenarios where you'd need that. EOD guys, people working on lines that are hot. If you cut two wires at once and you have a conductive blade, you're gonna have a problem right there. If you're trying to make like a little cache to bury, so you wanted to bury something, put it in the ground, and if you ever need it, maybe one day in 10 years, you dig it back up, you want it to look like when you put it in the ground. So if you put some little cheap, which this will be our control test later, some little cheap metal knife in there, you might go to dig that up and it might be rusty and not even usable. More situations where you would need that. If you're working in a acidic or caustic environment where your tooling's going to get all rusty, your knives are going to get all rusty, like you're cutting over open salt bags, you're working at a bumper plant where they're dipping bumpers, tons of different situations like that. I can't even tell you how many stories I've heard of people just running through cheap Walmart knives because of situations like that. Divers, people working in the ocean, spearfishing, all scenarios where you're in salty water. That eats up blades like crazy. I know there is solutions for that, and I'm going to get into it a little bit later, but they're all super expensive, and we don't have them here today, so we're not going to include them. Jumping back in, I did skip one. Another reason why you might need this would be if you need a tool or a knife that's a certain shape. For instance, if you're trying to get a hooked utensil, blade, whatever, even past like hawkbill, if you're trying to get something curved, if you're trying to get something where you have to reach around a corner and cut something, it can be, I mean, it probably can be done, but it just makes it more expensive and more time consuming to get if you need to have that CNC'd or create it into a metal knife. A lot of these stuff, like with the FGX that I'm going to show, I'm pretty sure it's just a machine that stamps this crap. As soon as they get the die for that one complex mold, they can just pump them out and then you don't have to worry about it after that. Different solutions could be something like ceramic. Ceramic's good for slicing, but as soon as you put any force on it along the length of it like that, I hear a lot of the times it'll break. But that can jump us right into our cons, and I already said the big one about ceramic, it's brittle. It's got some qualities to it that are amazing, but the downside is if you're trying to stab into something and you hit a beam, a stud, a bone, whatever, it's probably going to break and not going to be good for anybody involved. But it does have its purposes. Some cons for little 3D printed guys like this, you can already see, well, you might not be able to see, but you'll see when I do the close-up, the edges already have a little bit of deformation, and it's not really something that you're going to want to hold on to and carry every day. I filed this down a little bit, hit it with the lighter, and did a good amount of beauty in it up. But that being said, it's still not a good looking knife. It's got some slivers that are going to catch you, little hair-like looking things that hang off of it. It's not going to win a beauty contest if that's what you're interested in. This is PLA, so it's not going to be resistant to temperature much at all. You get it hot, it's going to get noodly. You get it cold, it's probably going to snap. So you're going to have to be mindful on that too. If you're going to carry something out in the winter and you want to cut them salt bags open, but it's 0 degrees outside, you might go to stab this through a bag and it might just snap in half. So there's a time and a place for a lot of this stuff, and you have to take into account a lot of that. So before I skip over it, cons for the FGX. A few of the things I did here was sharpening. Yeah, I mean, it's a polymer. You're not really going to be able to go in here and sharpen it. I can already feel just by touching through this, it doesn't come that sharp. But we're not looking to slice. We're not looking for slashing. Things like this, you're going to want to stab into a box and then slice from there. We're not really looking for, in this scenario, anything that's going to be cutting up carrots and stuff. One of the other cons for this that my wife, the lady behind the camera, says is that it's not pink. So that's something to take into consideration as well. All right, guys, I moved you a little bit closer so you can actually see how dirty my little work desk is here. I want to introduce these knives a little bit before I go into using them, because I think a lot of these are going to be junk right away. Some of these models, I don't know if you can tell from there, they have you print it as 1/2. So I have some of them, I just printed a half, and then the other ones, I obviously printed both sides and then glued it together with CA glue. And I can tell you that that glue is going to be stronger than this filament by the way that I glued my fingers together yesterday. That crap is strong. All right. Before we destroy anything, kind of want to help give you guys a close-up of these guys. Let's see here. You can see how crazy thin this guy is, how much it wants to bend. That thing's flying over to Walmart, eating out the parking lot, seagull style. So we got this guy. I've been calling it the Rambo knife. You can see it's got a little bit of a separation there. That's not on me. That was warped. That's got something going on, but put a ton of glue in there, and we're just going to hope for the best. Still pretty sturdy, even with that. Little triple threat. I like this guy. You can see got the 3 sides there. It ain't the best looking, but I mean, I didn't file all these down and treat them like I'm going to be everyday carrying them. We're probably going to break them all. So right here we got 1/2 of, I don't even know what I'm calling this guy. This is little bro. This is Michigan right here. We got the 2 pieces put together, got its life figured out, got a good job, drives it forward. This is big bro right here. A lot more sturdy, but lose a little bit of the sharpness on the edge. This guy definitely is sharper. These guys, these ones ended up looking pretty cool, but whether or not they're actually practical, it barely even fits my hand. I don't know about that. So we can see thickness there. Pretty good bend to it, but pretty sharp. Here's the one that I glued both together. You can see a lot thicker. Just a little blemish there in the print. That doesn't affect the edge at all. You can see it's still got a good edge to it. This little dude here, this had 2 pieces I sandwiched together, and then it had these 2 little plate things that you sandwich on it as well. Did not end up as well as I thought it would. Super wobbly, pretty tiny, but we'll see how it does. Here is one of the FGXs. I believe this is the boot one. Looks pretty cool. It's got a pretty interesting shimmer to it. Some of the fiberglass sparkles in there. I don't know. On the package it says, we'll expose you to nickel, give you cancer in California. So nickel's somehow involved in this thing. Whoa, I'm getting it off camera there. Yeah, this is rubberized. It actually feels kind of nice. And this is just a hard polymer. Here's the other FGX. Ooh, I'm going to try to get it in the light there. There we go. Nice rubber textured handle to it. Got the shimmer like the other one. I'm probably getting that all over my fingers. Whatever that mystery cancer stuff is, according to California. It's got, see if I can focus it. It's got a ridge going down both sides, probably for stability of the knife and bending of the blade and stuff like that. The erectness of it. It's probably going to perform like one of my knives took a blue chew. Something like that. But yeah, this one looks pretty solid. It is super small. I keep like trying to make my hand smaller to hold on to it, but if I actually were to hold on to this like a knife, I'm grabbing into the handle, or the blade. So I have to like really scrunch up my hand to hold on to this thing. You know, man, geez, imagine that. If somebody pulls this out in a knife fight, you just got to let the guy win. All right, so we had a camera die on us, so we're at the next day now. We're going to do the cardboard test. This is a piece of cardboard that's kind of plasticky on one side, so it's a little bit more of a tougher challenge for something to push through because it's going to want to be catching it. Wearing a glove now, not because I'm worried about how sharp these are, but I'm worried I'm going to push with some of these and they're going to snap and end up stabbing me. It's funny enough, messing with all these knives and cutting utensils, the only cut I got messing with everything was ripping this cardboard off the box. I got a paper cut. Yeah, we'll start with this guy and then we'll jump to more stacked cardboard. My wife expertly stacked me up a giant mountain of boxes in the basement in preparation for this moment. Yeah, let's get started with these guys. Let's see. I'm trying to get this guy to push through, still support it, but this guy looks like he touched his neck and he's kicking his head off to the side. He's already bent. We knew that though, but let's see how the glued together one does. That actually pushed through that really good. Doesn't want to slice through, but for stabbing, which is what we're looking for, that thing's pretty solid. I'm going to do like a damaged and good pile. Triple threat. Stabbing through pretty good. Triple threat. That thing is going to take a lot to break that guy. Rambo. This one's solid too. I like that one so far. This guy. See if I can grab it up here and give it a chance. If I grab it up there, it works. Grab it back here, like it looks like they wanted you to do it. Still working. This little guy. Do not like that very much. Makes you want to hold it like this, but if you grab it the way it fits, yep, knew that was coming. That one sucks. All right. 1/2 guy here. This one is going to be another weird one. And we're folding. Wonder if I can get it folded over and try. No. This one, we knew it doesn't have much support. Let's see. This guy, which is both of them glued together. Slid down it. So it's stabbing through, but it's not really wanting to cut too well into it. I'm not sure if you can see, it's got a pretty good gouge in the side of it, but it survived this first level. And then these guys, I know these are just going to shoot right in. Shoots in, but surprisingly, it's not doing too much better than some of these guys that made it through. This one's a lot sharper compared to the other ones, though. That one's, I can fold it in half and go through both. This one, definitely going to be a good one. The control, let's see how he does. Surprisingly not going crazy either. But this thing is super dull. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. Stripped a ton of wire with this guy. It's about the cheapest one you can get. I don't even know. It says it is stainless. I'm not sure how much I trust that because it says China right next to it. But I haven't sharpened this guy, nothing. Sliding through pretty well, but not so far, not too much better than the other guys. All right, so I figured we could mix it up a little bit. especially since the cardboard already claims so much of them. I got a muskmelon. I'm gonna do one layer. I'm gonna turn this a little bit. Put this t-shirt over it. See if any of them can puncture through the t-shirt or if they're just gonna stab into the melon. The melon is kind of soft, but I still feel like that's a pretty decent medium for us to see what it's gonna do. See if these things just poke and jam it in there, if they can actually make it through this. And we'll step it up a little bit more from there. So which one are we going to start with? Might as well. Let's just start with the guys that's already over here. So we got the triple threat here, shirt versus melon. See what happens. Wow. That actually just shot right through the shirt into the melon. You can see the juice. You can see a little gash from earlier when I tried it, but you can see the little triangle left from this guy. Nice. Turn it a little bit again, because that broke a good amount of the melon. This guy's going to be a little tougher. Right through as well. Soft melon definitely isn't doing it any favors, guys. It's trying to pull the material in rather than give it a good backer to cut. Look how much juice came out. That Rambo knife, that thing's legit. So I'll get a new piece here. Try to make sure we're not in the soft spot left by the Rambo one. This guy, I'm just going to start holding it. I don't know, from the bottom, but at least I'll give it a fair chance. But wow, right through as well. I might have to fold this thing up and do both layers. It's actually cutting through these a lot better than I thought it would. Not that guy though. I don't think that went through, did it? Let's try to get another soft spot. It is making it. This dude though, this is going to take a lot of material. Pretty big knife here. I don't know if it's going to be able to make it through. Just folded half that melon in on itself. Did not go through. That seems like something, if you're going to cut something with a kind of soft backer and you need to get through something, it's just going to push all the way in. I don't think it's got the right geometry to actually get a proper stab or cut to it. Let me try to just give it another fair chance. Yeah, we're just getting the same outcome. Pushing it in. So this one did not make it. Let's try to keep going. Oop. Right through. Doesn't make that big of a hole, but definitely this one went through very easily. Then we have the other FGX. Struggled a little bit more in the other guy, but this is the one that showed up with that bent tip as well. Let's see. Did make a hole though. So let's see. The other guy's broken. That guy didn't work. Let's see how control does. Let me get it. New spot without a hole. Boom, right through. Control, definitely easiest out of all of them. But I am pretty impressed with those FGXs and that triple threat. They just shot right in there. I think we have to try this with both layers. So this is the triple threat, double layered shirt. I think we're running out of melon. But it did make it through. Really, if I'm being honest, I think the only guy that might not make it through double is this Rambo. And I think this is going to fully smush the melon. Which, honestly, maybe then I should just really fast poke these through to prove that they can before I just destroy the entire thing. I don't know. Did that go all the way? It did. Both those shot all the way. This one's definitely struggling a lot more. I mean, this cat too, really. just juicing it, but not not going through. There it goes. Finally went through. Little thing is actually surprising me for how dumb and dinky it looks. It made it through. This little guy not making it through. I'm destroying this poor melon. I've not really got much left of it. Don't think this guy's going to make it through either. So, boom, boom. Let's just hit it with the Rambo. See what happens. Ain't going to do it. It's getting too soft now. If you got a solid backing, this thing is pretty sturdy. I can see it being able to hold its weight and punch above its weight class, but situation like this, it just does not have enough point to it. All right, jumping into some harder tests. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 layers of this Amazon cardboard. See if anything can make it all the way through. Oh, this guy's breaking. Lost the whole tip. Giving up on that cap before it breaks and takes a bite out of me. Lost the tip on that guy. Triple threat. Made it. Do like this guy. Little tiny one. Made it as well. Ooh, took a big bunch of cardboard with it because it bent the tip. Let's see if I can show that to you guys. Bent the tip. Get a bunch of cardboard and crap on me. Let's see. Bent the tip pretty good. I don't know if this thing's going to survive too much more attempts of trying to poke anything. Rambo. Let me switch this up a little bit so I'm being fair with it. This thing's pretty legit. I just wish it had a better point to it. Maybe some of them guys working the magic on the print files can figure that out. If this thing had a little bit of a sharper point to it, it would definitely be a pretty good contender in here. So that guy still standing. This guy's still standing. Let's see how the FGXs do. Starting to really stand out at this point. Starting to really show the difference between the printed ones and these fiberglass polymer ones. Although I really don't like this one, if I'm being honest with you guys. I'd rather carry some of these printed ones over this guy. See if it's sturdy in there. Doesn't want to bend, doesn't want to break. Get it in there, you can twist it. I mean, look at that. It's got some good bend going on to it. Still comes back out straight and solid though. This guy, get it in there, twisting it, prying with it. Still comes out straight and good. If we get big Rambo in there, which is starting to not want to go in there anymore, trying to pry. Pretty solid, pretty good. I mean, I could snap this if I wanted to. I probably could with those guys. It's got more than enough movement. It's making crunchy noises, but it's holding together. It's working. Here we go. Triple threat. Stab it in. It makes it all the way through. Reefing on it, trying to bend it. Punching it. Stays solid, just like it was. A little bend to the end. But for it being almost the size of a pen, you can print this in any color. Print it in black. Leave it in your vest. I'm not even sure you can see me. Leave it in your vest. Put it right in your pocket. If you ever have a situation where you need it, that doesn't seem like too bad of a thing. If you got leftover filament and stuff, definitely nice. This knife survived thus far. It still leaves me just wanting a little bit more. I do like it though. It's definitely one of the most usable STLs that I found online. But pretty impressed with these guys. Yeah, that being said, I don't have much more destruction planned. I can wrench on these and stab them through cardboard until I break them eventually, but I really honestly do think that these ones have proved they can make it through clothing layers, they can make it through different mediums, they can make it through with a softer backing, they can make it through the harder backing. As far as beating them up and stuff, we know they're not the most durable things in the world. It's going to go through really easy. I didn't do the control test with the 8 layer of the cardboard. That's another thing. I just know it's going to go right through. Easier than these guys. We figured that out from earlier in the test examples, and I know it's just going to keep going on along through them all. But we have our graveyard of ones we destroyed, all the homies we lost along the way. I hope this video helped people get at least a little bit of a glimpse at this. I know it wasn't too professional of testing, but I thought it was kind of fun. I just had some stuff I threw together, threw these guys in the mix. And I kind of wanted to introduce these together because I think this is a really good platform to start getting into printing sheaves and figuring out a way. This guy, I do not like this guy, but this guy, if I could figure out a way to print a sheath that this thing would just lock into and takes away some of the concerns people have when they look into these guys. Oh, I like the FGX, but they don't sell a sheath. What am I going to do? Just put this bare thing in my pocket? So that's what I was reading online. If I could get the best of both worlds, custom print a sheath, put one of these guys in there. If a situation came up where I needed to cut some cardboard or cut some cardboard that's behind a shirt, then I think that's definitely a pretty good option. But as far as switching over to the FGX series or 3D printed stuff, not carrying a real knife with you anymore, am I going to do that? No, not at all. There's no way. But like I was explaining earlier, there's always situations where something like that might be the only thing you can have. You don't want to have it rusty. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you had a little bit of fun watching this. I know I had some fun getting to stab some of this stuff. I might just overlook something simple. So if you guys have any comments or tips, or you want to see me test with a different material, or you want to see me jump this up from 50% infill to 100%, see if it actually makes a difference, see if any of these guys survive, see if I go down to 25, if more of them die off. If there's any more of these FGXs that people are interested in, we can figure out if more of them like this guy suck, or if more of them are really cool like this guy. Like I said, other materials, ceramics, things like that. If there's interest, I'm definitely going to try to keep more of this going. But otherwise, this was just a cool little video looking at some of the pros and cons and the strengths of all this.